Hello and welcome to the webinar. My name is Craig Yellick, Vice President and Chief Solution Architect of Alto Consulting and Training. Application software does not last forever. At some point, some combination of challenges and opportunities make it clear it's time to retire, replace, or retrofit your legacy applications. In part 2 of this series, we'll make the case for considering integrating mobile apps into your business software. Alto Consulting and Training has been around for 30 years, delivering successful solutions via software development and systems engineering on a variety of different productivity platforms. We also include a variety of educational opportunities to make sure our customers are up to speed and up to date on what's going on in the technology world. We partner with Q3 Technologies for their extensive expertise in a wide variety of application platforms and software development technologies. Here's what you're going to learn today. It's critical that you start by identifying the workloads that are suitable for mobile development. Not every application and not every aspect of an application is going to be suitable for a mobile device. Once you've selected the workloads that make sense and give you a good return on investment, the next task is to pick a platform that will be able to be successful. And then finally, to be truly useful to a business organization, mobile apps need to integrate in some way, shape, or form with your existing software applications. If you stay through to the end, there's a special bonus offer where we've got a $800 free consulting value that we'll make available to anybody viewing this webinar. All right, so your existing business applications were designed around a large monitor, full keyboard, high precision mouse. The user experience with mobile devices, like tablets or smartphones, is very different, and there's simply no practical way to recreate all of that functionality. Your first task is identifying the workloads that are reasonable to perform on a mobile device. Typically, there's a minimum number of features or actions that are required before it makes sense to make the investment in a new app. The minimum set of features might not be possible to implement successfully on a smartphone, forcing you to go with a larger tablet-style device. This is something you need to determine up front, as early as possible in the design process, before you settle on the device platform. For example, conducting an entire sales process from proposal to final contract would be quite difficult to perform on a smartphone or even a small tablet. Which aspects of the process make sense to handle while on the go? Reviewing and approving documents is completely reasonable. Making comments, checking on status, schedule, prices, all could be made to fit. So the device form factor has to be selected that gives you the return. It's not worth building a smartphone application, for example, if it's not going to be able to truly add enough value to justify building it. All right, once you've identified the workloads and are confident about the types of devices you need to support, the next major decision is the app platform. The easiest case is where you completely control the make and model of the mobile device to be supported. The hardest is when you need to run on anything, because your users have a wide range of devices. This gives you 3 basic platform options. First is browser-based. Your app is essentially a web app. This is handy because all smartphones and all tablets have web browsers, so a single app will work on a wide variety of devices. The downside is that the browser-based apps are usually harder to use and have limited access to other software running on the device. If your app is developed using the tools native to the device operating system, Android, iOS, and Windows all have powerful programming capabilities that can fully integrate device features like cameras, GPS, local storage, and more. The user interface is largely provided by the device, so users have a consistent and efficient experience. The downside is that it gets prohibitively expensive to support multiple devices and operating systems. Finally, we have cross-platform. The development tools market has responded to the challenges outlined here, and it's possible to design and build a single app that can be installed on multiple device operating systems. This has clear cost advantages. The downside is that the app might not get full access to all device features, and the user experience might be compromised. To be truly useful to your organization, the mobile apps will need to pull data and/or save data to your internal line of business applications, doing so safely and securely. There are a number of factors that drive the decision about your integration options. First is timeliness. Does the data have to be real-time, and if not, how old is too old to be useful? Next, transactional. Does the app only create new data, or does it alter existing data? If it makes changes, are the updates complex, and will they require full transactional integrity? This is sometimes difficult to achieve in a mobile device setting. And lastly, no signal. If the mobile device loses network connectivity, must the app still function? Does it need to be fully functional, or it can still be used in some reduced capacity? Here's a quick pair of case studies to illustrate these points. A customer needed a mobile app that field agents could use inside large retail stores. The application had a lot of information to display and data points to collect, so a tablet form factor was the best choice. Field agents can walk through a store comfortably, call up information with just a tap. An on-screen keyboard is available for taking notes. Ideally, all the data would be real-time, but a critical design criteria in this case is that the app be 100% functional even when there is no network connection. That's often the case inside of large metal buildings. The app caches all data in local device storage, guaranteeing that the field agent will always be able to see information and create and edit data. When an internet connection becomes available, the app performs a sync process, resulting in near real-time data for both the field agent and the home office corporate staff. For a patient with a severe illness, it's difficult to get an appointment and physically visit a doctor at a clinic. The requirement for this app was to provide a virtual coordinated care platform to patients that bridge the gap between the clinic and the patient's home. The application is designed to provide patients an online platform that could allow the patients to consult the doctors via phone or computer without necessarily visiting them at the clinic. This is an Apple iOS application that's highly visual with very simple touch-based inputs. Allows the patients to record and track their symptoms, allows the patients to run a workflow to identify a best course of action for symptoms. If necessary, the patients can call a doctor or a nurse. Patients can set reminders for medication and exercise, and also access educational content about various types of diseases and treatments of symptoms. In live versions of this webinar, a number of really good questions were raised, and so we've decided to add a little bit of Q&A to cover those topics as well. Question 1, what are the support and maintenance costs of a mobile application? It's a good question because it's definitely far more complicated than a typical local area network-based client app that you may be familiar with. Typically, you have a single application that needs to be maintained with maybe some back-end technology, and the client tier is pretty accessible to you at all times. When you go mobile, especially native apps and cross-platform apps, gets increasingly more complicated because there are many more layers of application and networking software that have to be configured and supported. So you can pretty well count on almost doubling your support costs versus a traditional networked application. What is the expected app lifetime? This is also a great question, and sadly it doesn't have a very good answer. Smartphones and tablets simply have not been around long enough to give us much of a track record for how long they last and how often they need to be retrofitted. So the jury's out on that. So far, the apps that we've developed a while back are still up and running and still fully supported, but it's really up to the device manufacturers to keep things stable. Apple, as we all know, has removed support for things like headphone jacks and so on, and so it's hard to say that would ever affect the app's lifetime. The device lifetime is another matter. So if you concentrate on the app's lifetime and ignore the device, I think the track record so far has been pretty good, and you can expect to get 5 to 10 years minimum on a particular application. And then lastly, device security. When your traditional applications are running on a network, it's pretty easy to control who has access to what. When you start putting apps onto devices, especially if the organization doesn't own the device, that clearly complicates device security. If you're caching corporate information, especially sensitive information on that device, you're going to have to invest into some kind of encryption. And ideally, some kind of remote wiping technology is a good idea as well, so that if somebody loses a phone or otherwise terminates from the company, you want to have a clear and concise and reliable mechanism for making sure that application is removed from the device and any data that was present goes along with it. All right, well, thank you for attending the webinar. As mentioned, we want to make a special bonus offer here for you. If you are up against the need to evaluate application software as it relates to migration into any technologies, not just mobile, we'd love to offer a day to come out and give you a hand. We'll have some high-level analytical meetings where we'll discuss your challenges and goals, and then come up with a roadmap that has the recommendations that we make. The next topic in this series will be leveraging cloud services for your legacy software applications that might be at the end of their life cycle. If you're interested in any of this, there's an email address at the bottom of the screen, sales@altoconsulting.com. Drop us a line with any questions or comments that you might have. Thanks for attending.